This is episode 336 of Gold Squadron Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Will Glorious Burden Hegwood, and tonight I'm joined by Marcel. The sky is falling, Manzano.
Yeah, we went from first place to if we lose, we could be eliminated.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
What? An experience. We also have Orion slipping through time. Stanzewski.
I could be 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, or 10 years from now. Who knows?
And we have James for all time Ritter.
Yeah, for all time till the end of time.
All right, well, before we jump into some of our main topics, I got to talk to you about who is our podcast episodes are brought to you by, and that's our GSP Patreons. Becoming a Patreon makes you part of the largest group of our supporters of what GSP does. They get access to Patreon-only channels on our Discord, and Dion has posted the shareable art from our past projects. So you got to go check out patreon.com/Gold Squadron to become a Patreon today. Now, we have a world qualifier we want to talk about, so let me get that pulled up. This is a Western Canadian World Open qualifier. Looks like here it was in the town of Burnaby, British Columbia. So let's get that pulled up and we can start talking about the winning lists. So let's see here. Who's in our final? We had these real better names. Jokas versus Plur. And we have coming out on top 2 Torrents. Pretty impressive. We're going to take a look at what Jokas was flying here. Maybe. Nope.
So Will, you should remember that's Jorge who ran the Six Republic list at Worlds. I'm pretty sure, and PLR is Paul LaRue.
Paul LaRue. Okay. Jorge Castaneda. I have to click view summary, don't I? There we go. Then we can check out the last 2 lists here. Paul LaRue facing off against Jorge. So, named this list Clones Together Strong. We have Jag, Wolf, Oddball, Kickback. So those are those first 3 were Arcs, Jag, Wolf, Oddball. These are all Siege of Coruscant ships. So they have that front to back. They have the Born for This ability as well. We also have Kickback and Axe in the Torrents, both of them being the 3-point ones. Kickback with that I-5 Diamond Boron. Axe with the Initiative 3 Barrage Rockets. And then the last ship to make it a full 6 here is Boost with Predator. Not the typical dedicated slider. We've seen this Boost coming out there with that start of engagement reposition. What is your thoughts on ditching the Padmes, the Anakins, any of the Jedi in the Republic and going for this 2 Torrent combination? How about you, James?
It's brave. Not having any of that force to fall back on, but Clones Together are strong because sharing that focus and evade from those Torrents around could really make a Arc or even a Torrent very tanky.
Sorry, Rob,
and just make target priority terrible.
That is one of the strengths when everybody has the same tokens. There's nobody left defenseless out there. Ryan, you're going to say something?
Oh, it was interesting to see that Jorge decided to stick with his very well practiced 6 clone list, just adapting it to the new age of it, where oddball is 4 points, and uh, you know, the V wings that used to be available are now 4 points as SOC. And yeah, the boost was a more interesting choice. I definitely expected slider when I saw the initial silhouettes of like what the ship chassis were. I figured it was
Mm-hmm.
all the SOC arcs and the 2 SOC torrents. I was like, oh, it's probably slider in there. Like going for boost. I didn't expect that. But hey, stardom engagement boost action can be pretty neat. Like higher initiative ship. Oh, I got you. Psych, I'm out. Leaving.
Right. And what an interesting bait ship as well. Using the clone is kind of just like target practice for the rest of the list. But with those born for this, should have like unlimited focuses available for defense, which would make that 4 health chassis hard to take out.
Mm-hmm. And there's likely times. And my guess is knowing how he played his list originally at Worlds with 2 arcs. I think the 3 arcs kind of just get shoved into the fight, and the torrents are kind of lagging behind a little bit, so that they could supply tokens to the arcs and or boost, so that they take as little amount of damage in the first engagement as possible, so that both torrents are just evading behind those arcs. And then when the arcs get into the scrum and make things really messy and hard to navigate through, that's where Axe and Kickback go for their like Diamond Boron missile on Kickback or Barrage Rocket on Axe, and don't take those evades anymore because everything's bumping into arcs everywhere if they're getting into the messy part of the fight.
Yeah, so as a note, Axe's ability for the Siege of Coruscant gives a born for this ship in their side arc a lock on the defender. So they perform an attack and then give a lock to somebody else. But I think that only really benefits Jag, I think, because everybody else would shoot before Axe.
Yeah, that would be the case, unless it's something for like, passing lock off for next turn type of thing.
Sure. I mean, with Wolf being able to use anybody's target lock could be advantageous. Or what you were talking about kickback, like here you go, kickback, shoot your Diamond Boron next round. So some interesting play through the kind of born for this clones here. I know Steven in Team USA has been flying the 6 ship. He's got click in there. But still, the 6 clones, very strong in any combination there. But let's take a look at Paul's list then and got into the final table with 5FO. Has Kylo Ren in the Whisper, Jamin Sweet, Brilliant Evasion, Malice, Predator, Pattern, no missile at all on Kylo, Wrath, with the Enhanced Jamming Suite as well, Predator, Marksman, Pattern, and Ion Cannon. So the Whispers love the Pattern Analyzer because they can do those white linked actions on Enhanced Jamming Suite before they get hit with the stress. So you could barrel roll and jam or focus jam even while doing those red maneuvers. We have Midnight with Fanatical and Pattern Analyzer, Commander Malorus with Cluster Missiles, and the last ship here is Grudge. That is the Reroll Your Bombs bomber. At 4 points, gets Cluster Mines, Thermal Detonators, Skilled Bombardier, and Feedback Ping. So both the kinds of bombs have reroll effects, but no munitions on Grudge either. So really coming in using the strength of the bomber. So what do you think about putting the bomber in this kind of AC first order list?
I mean, it's not that much different from putting the the
Deathfire.
what is it called? Yeah, there
The
you go,
Imperial
Deathfire.
Deathfire. Yeah.
Yeah, the Imperial Deathfire, just to go in there and especially with cluster mines being able to boost cluster mine, thermal detonators dropping out there and making people reroll, skilled bombardier to give more range, feedback being because it's a free point.
By last point. And
yeah, I mean there's a free point, like why not? So I mean it makes sense. I don't think a lot of people are doing it. He's 4 points. I think that's kind of what hurts a little bit.
There's 2 3-point bombers that you could choose instead, but
there's 2 3-point bombers, but also you can just go with something like isn't Ember 4 points, for example?
Ember, Hughes,
and
pretty much
any
any SF
that's
that's not quick draw.
Yeah, I mean,
so you get a legitimate 3 with Hughes, you get an I5 3 attack, 6 health. That can potentially be double modded if you go the whole proud pattern analyzer. I mean, does it make sense? Yes. Is it better than? Would he have gotten as far or done better with the Hughes, for example? I don't know, probably, because like if you give me this version of Grudge or one of the natural 3 attack options, I'm gonna go with a 3 attack option. I might even go with a 3.3 attack option like DT or Scorch. I think you get more out of that, and then just bump one of your. Actually, there's nothing to bump, but
yeah, it turns out FO doesn't have a 6-point ship, so
Midnight.
I mean, figure out something else.
Midnight's kind of like whatever. Like I would probably go like DT. DT Scorch, Malrus, Rat, Kylo, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, just the whole thing.
I mean, I will say overall, as much as we talk about what we're used to seeing in the 4-point slot for FL being the Hughes mainly, Ember thrown in there every once in a while, Phasma, and every once in a while, if you have 2 4-pointers or multiple. We've basically seen. We look it up right now, but there's been almost 0 attempts to even try these bombers at 4 points. Has really been the 3-point ones.
Right.
The amount of times Grudge has been taken in an event, since the points update back in end of May,
right?
Grudge has only shown up in 24 events, total, all. That's it. It's nothing. So I mean, is it a very disruptive piece? Yeah, probably. It's very helpful to have boost on that chassis, let alone the boost in system and then drop bomb type of thing. I mean, it's worth trying stuff, right? We're not at Worlds yet. Paul LaRue felt more comfortable with this and found a lot of people. Maybe it was an effect of, oh yeah, it does this thing. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Crap. Right. People just not remembering what Grudge can really do to you and how the Fombers can be effective when they do have that much of ammunition to use against you and Grudge's ability. In the long run, will it be one of the 4-pointers that actually makes some sense to take over Hughes? I have no idea. Obviously, 3-die guns that can be double modded. It depends on in their situational way, whether it's proud pattern on the Hughes or whether it's Ember on a flank not being looked at, so you can use Ty BA's ability for focus target lock. I mean, those are more straightforward. They're very obvious things that can contribute. They contribute with their guns. It's much more. You can calculate those things out. You can figure what they can contribute numerically. Grudge is a pure positional disruptor, area denial, and yeah, by the numbers, you're going to do some way more damage with your bombs than most other bombers in the entire game, or anyone who carries bombs. But it's not an easily tangible thing to grasp onto for any player to understand what it can contribute without understanding how it moves, how easily or what it does get burned down to, how to keep it from getting just taken off the board immediately. I mean, there is somewhat of a target priority concern here, right? I mean, Lehuse would offer similar target priority because you don't want him to start doing red moves all over you and getting double mods. Like the goal for Lehuse is to kill him before he starts doing his red moves. But I mean, Grudge can garner a lot of attention. So can Wrath and Wily. You don't want Wrath getting 2 shots the entire game on you. He's much easier to kill than Kylo.
Right.
Kylo's still killable though, right? I mean, they're both 5 points. I sure would want to kill. If I can kill Wrath off the board quick, I'll do it. But Kylo is the longer term threat. So
yeah, true. Yeah, because
Maurus and Midnight, you can as an opponent, I wouldn't pay too much attention to Maurus and Midnight. I would try to mitigate any cluster missile things. I would not make it easy for Midnight to just get a lock and do whatever Midnight wants to do. But there's clearly 3 main targets in this list. It's the 2 Whispers and Grudge. Mm-hmm. And we'll see if more people try Grudge and it works out. Maybe there's something to look at.
All right, as someone who's been flying a lot of Imperial, the addition of bombs in my list, even if it's not automatic damage, but it's an automatic effect like ions, has been huge to disrupt enemies and deal out the extra couple of damages you need. And I could see that transition over into FO as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the main difference is Grudge is 4 points, whereas all those good bombs can exist in 3 points. I mean, to be honest right now, in Empire, it's not about Sat Salvo barrage rockets. It's about the mass ion bombs, the Deathfire carrying proton bomb counternet. The control level and area denial in Empire is ridiculous, right? It's so good.
Yeah, I started putting bombs on my countdown too. More bombs. But the cluster mines basically rolling 3 dice, because you get 2 dice and then the reroll. Sound very accurate for damage. But it's actually, you know what, I was going to save it for the end, but this is actually a great transition. We'll come back to the rest of the world qualifier, top 4, and maybe we could find some interesting lists to take a look at. But this Grudge does fit right into our question of the week. Steve from our Discord asks us, how much value is a list people aren't expecting? Playing against Han or Arcs or whatever, you know more or less how to approach that list. If you haven't playtested against a list at all, how valuable is that unexpectedness? And I feel like Grudge is the perfect example of, if you haven't played against those cluster mines, they could surprise you about where they can be put. So Marcel, James, what's your input on putting a unexpected list together for a tournament, or just any game that you're trying to win?
Yeah, I think it depends on if you're going unexpected list and you're taking components to the list that are just like a different flavor of lists that people are already taking, probably not so much. Also, if you're just taking pure efficiency, where there's not a lot of triggers, it's just like pure efficiency, and people can figure out a bunch of wide wings, I know it's gonna take a while to shoot through them, not so much. But if it's, I wouldn't say combo wing, but if it's mechanics or things that are tricky in terms of identified target priority, where again, looking at Grudge and you say well, Grudge is kind of not that big of a deal. He's not going to do that much damage in the long run, so I'm going to focus on these other things because I know there's missiles coming from Maurus. I know there's this coming from this ship. And you ignore something that is good. I think that's probably where that element of surprise comes in, is where, again, not so much combo wing, because combo wing can surprise people, but also combo wing relies on a plus 2, 1 plus 2 equals 4, and sometimes you can't get that 1 + 2, so it's 1 + 2 = 4. But if you don't get the 1 + 2, it's like 1 + 2 = -7, and then you're just in trouble. But I think it's more along the lines of like not having somebody not understand target priority, or having somebody not understand what should they be focused on. For example, if you got Han uh, in the Rebels, and then you've got Han and Luke, and all of a sudden you add something like, let's say, we were talking about it a week or two ago. You add something like Rourke, Rourke is the one that boosts you up to 7, right?
Yes. Hmm?
And you got something like Han, Luke, and then Rourke and another thing that is low initiative that could potentially do a lot of damage, and you're like, well, Han, Luke is the danger, and then all of a sudden this initiative 7 monstrosity, whether let's say Rourke Chopper. So now you got Rourke Chopper with like what is that? With Saw throwing like 5 crits at you. Then you're like, oh, there's 5 crits coming at me at initiative 7. So it's those type of things probably where you're gonna get the most value. It's just having people misunderstand target priority more so than, I don't know. That's what I think. James?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I when no one else was flying Padme, coming to an event and having to explain Padme to all 4 of my opponents every time, it definitely gives a certain value to the list for sure. Especially when they get caught off mid combat too. It's like, well, I'm gonna save that focus for like that proton torpedo attack. It's like, well, you can save that focus, but it's only gonna be it's only ever gonna be a calculate. So, yeah, definitely bring in something like Padme that could have a large effect, but we just don't see too often. Could be like Marcel said, like Rourke, where we don't see it very often, or even really any of the lesser used Hawks coming in. Like the Scum ones are nasty too. They just have like such like powerful abilities that can just kind of come out of left field and surprise you.
I think Pale is probably one of those, because he's ones that people forget. Like they forget, but they're like, because they're used to the other two. They're used to Gamut and
Kanan.
Kanan, thank you.
Yeah.
Or even Dace, because he's efficient. But
yeah, even
Pale is like, wait, Pale is kind of
he steals tokens from where?
It's like, I'll just target lock him. Oh, you get rid of that too? Well, what if we just shot him? Oh, it gives me bad tokens for shooting him? What is this?
Yeah.
I was like, by the time
why is this 5 health ship bullying me?
Yeah, by the time they've committed all of this, their target, like, I think you identified the real advantage is that target priority.
Right.
Like, even just a couple shots into the wrong target could cost you rounds. I remember playing the
Kanan. Yeah, the Kanan feels bad too. Where you shoot Kanan, and he gets like a force back, and it's like, well, he took my 3 die down to a 2 die, and then he blocked both of them. But like, he definitely can't do that again. And he does it again. It's like, well, he definitely can't do it again, right? He does it again. It's like you spent 4 3-die attacks and you did 1 damage to Kanan.
Right. I mean, I think
like
that
siege
the
arcs,
Malorus used to be that kind of like weird TIE fighter. It was like, why is this TIE fighter just flying at my whole force? And then you commit everything to it, right? You target lock it, and you don't do anything to it.
Yeah.
These V-Wings with Born for this have been the same thing. I'm just like, why is this contrail right in front of me? And I was like, it only has 5 focus tokens. So, like,
Yeah.
is this the right target to be shooting at?
Yeah, because if that guy rolls like even like at average or just above average greens, you are not going to do like more than 2 damage to him.
Right. Plus contra abilities and some other interesting things. So, I think that is to leverage an unusual list, you really got to be messing with that target priority. Interesting stuff. I'm sure, Paul. After that first cluster mine goes down, people were like, "Okay, this thing has got to go." And now I'm like, "You're gonna start."
Well, there is only one cluster.
There's only one.
Yeah, the first cluster mine goes down, like he doesn't.
It's too late now. It's too late now, buddy.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
Yeah, and also that skilled bombardier throwing down at 2.
Yeah, there's probably better like overall grudge builds, but if you are just trying to drop cluster mines on somebody in the system phase, this would be the way to do it.
Yeah, after a boost.
Yeah, the boost, 2 back drop, and just hit like boost over somebody you blocked as well. Oh,
yeah.
So
yeah, and then each of those cluster get rerolls.
On the unexpected stuff, you better just because some people when they look at something like, oh, I'm gonna try this thing, no one's trying it. First thing to make sure is that you know what you're doing is legal. Is it? Are you doing it correctly helpful. Or not? Because I
object.
Of course. This wasn't even meant to be a shot at ourselves. It's just like, I've done this myself. I've done like, and I know what people have. They like, because I especially know because my locals come to me and they're like, hey, how come people aren't using this thing? Because you can do this thing. Like, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I think in our responded GSP channel, someone was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have to worry about Gar Saxon on."
Oh yeah, we're like, yeah, why aren't people putting on Gar Saxon on Mandel? Like, it seems like a great combination.
Like, well, you can't.
You can't. So that would do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So one, make sure your unexpected thing doesn't unexpectedly make you cheat. Make sure it's legal. 2, make sure you know the rules of everything that interacts with it, and not just like a down like rules only thing, but understand. You're the one flying it, right? I would not recommend your quote unexpected curveball to be like it's like 11 p.m. the night before and you're packing your stuff and you're like, I haven't tried this thing. I just thought of it. I'm gonna try it, because then tomorrow you're gonna be running it for the first time like ever. Or even if it's the second or third time, it's still probably like it's unexpected to you as well, as much as it is to your opponent. It's gonna be a
curveball to your playing.
Yeah, exactly.
More than your opponent's.
Like if you're trying this like work stuff with like trying to swarm tactics yeah, maybe go back and read some of the like read the card, read the rule, read the card, read the rule, and then check the forum.
I take that as a personal attack.
No. Just stop reading. No, I agree. Just stop reading the card after the good stuff.
Yeah, after the good stuff, it says engage in a division of 7. Full stop. Continue shooting. That's it.
So yeah, like you should be like if you are bringing the unexpected thing, you should feel extremely comfortable with it, and you should have also tested it against all the normal matchups you would likely face in an event. Like right now, if I wanted to test something out, I'd try it against both versions of Han, whether it's the 4-ship or 5-ship. I would try it against Vader or Rack with bombers. I would try it against 5-ship resistance, and I would try it against triple arc Republic. Like that's your that is your like this is the bar, right? If you don't meet this bar, can't make a competitive game against those things. Your unexpected thing might just be a neat thing you can do on local nights, but in a tournament, you might find that you catch a couple people in Swiss off guard. But if you net a couple wins, you're starting to get to people who are a little more experienced, more likely, or have maybe seen something like that or thought of something like that. Because, spoiler, no one here is the only person to ever think of any single thing in X-Wing. There's enough minds in X-Wing to have, like, you are not the only one to think of a thing. Now, you may have been one of the few to act on it. Doesn't mean a person who's playing across from you had thought or considered what you've brought as the unexpected piece. So, you need to make sure you feel like you're a master at this. You don't need to be the best. Like, there's always someone better at anything, right? But you need to feel comfortable enough to where you're the master at it to yourself. I've tested this out. I've tried a couple openings. I've faced stuff against some things. I have a feeling for where its threshold is against this matchup, this matchup, this matchup, and I know when I joust with it or not joust with it, etc., etc., etc. Right? And my only example that I can call back to my own memory for what I've tried before is the last first edition Worlds. Like, I don't think anyone expected the Resistance Bomber Crimson Specialist to show up in the top 8, but also no one expected the Brobots to be winning that whole event either, right? There's people who became masters of their own comfort level on those things. Like, I knew going into that Worlds that I would most likely punt the Ghost Fen matchup, but I would feel extremely good against every single matchup with Lorik, Fen, or Lorik and a Sheathapede Rebel regen stuff. I dumpstered that. It was great. And luckily, I never faced the Ghost Fen, and I faced a whole bunch of those Rebel bunker things.
Okay. So identifying what your silver bullet is made to be shot at, also very helpful.
I mean, there's obviously a lot less silver bullety things now with objectives and how the game is now balanced versus 1.0. There were a lot of you lost in list building phase because your opponent brought some other list that just hard countered it or brought a bigger bid. Right. God, I'm so glad bids aren't a thing anymore.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll never see that card that lets you change the road roll. We'll see.
Never said it'd be possible. I know we speculated because why would they make dice if you couldn't modify it? I'm pretty sure they answered that in a stream a long time ago. They are never touching that.
Yeah.
I want that elite talent, that adaptive. You can go +1 or -1.
Oh, adaptability, yeah, +1 or -1 in your initiative.
During this.
If they made it during the system phase.
During the system phase.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you could change your initiative.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing.
Consequences. You have to choose it in the end phase for the next round.
The end phase. Wow.
Yeah, you don't get to know the road roll. You don't get to know the road roll.
Oh, okay, fair. It would actually have to be worth points if it was after the road roll, right?
It's after road roll. It'd be a lot of points.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of points. But you know what? I'm actually gonna make my initiative.
Actually, I think that would be pretty cool with a max of 4. You may not go beyond initiative 4 like that.
Yeah.
Adaptability, and then you may not go to initiatives above 4 or something like that. So
no, I think if it only went down, it couldn't go up anymore. If you could willingly lower your movement initiative.
No, I would say from 0 to 4. It'll take a 3 to 4 or a 1 to 2. But yeah, going to 5 or 6 would be silly.
No, only down.
Would be fun though.
But yeah, can you imagine that grudge just coming up and dropping a cluster mine on Vader and one-shotting Vader?
I was going to ask you if anybody knew offhand what the average damage would be. It's with the reroll.
Well,
it's
so you get 2 dice rolls per cluster, and it does hits or crits. So
50-50.
You have 50% chance on each die roll to get a successful result. You're rolling
and
2 of
the
them.
Rerolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can reroll 1 dice out of your pool. So first one's 50-50 and the next one is
I think it's an
75.
average of 1.5 damage then?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's 1.5 on each cluster.
Okay, that checks out. Because you're 50% chance to do 2 damage on the initial roll. And then you're upping that up just a little bit as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. So at least 1, if not 2 damage on each of those. Yeah. Yeah, I assume. So, somebody losing their main piece.
At the very least, take shields off of Vader. but could be getting in a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And the last time I ever thought about the grudge math was reminding myself when I was trying a Republic. Oh yeah, grudge with prox mines literally has a straight 50% chance to just kill an Ada.
Yeah.
Because prox mine does the auto 1, and then you have the 2 dice to do 2 more damage, and Ada only has 3 hull in most cases.
So
this is why I don't play Adas right now.
Yeah, look out for that. Luckily, only drops, no launches on that. All right, well, let's keep going in here. I got the other 2 lists for the top 4 pulled up here. This is K. Helendros list. Ended up losing to Jorge, but had brought an Empire list. Oh no, it's the Set Salvos. We got Tomax Bren, Set Salvo, Barrage Rockets, Bomblet, Jonas with the same loadout, Major Reimer rocking Ion Bombs and the same Barrage Rockets. The terrible trio there with the heavily modified Barrage Rockets, and then with the rest of the list brings that launching Deathfire and maybe the meanest ship in Empire, Rear Admiral Chernow, with the Death Troopers, Darth Vader, Agile, Ruthless, and the Electronic Baffle. So brought enough bombs than everybody else. Didn't need a bomb on Rear Admiral as well. This kind of list continues to be very effective. I mean, it's the how do I want to describe it? It's the Rebel 1 forward to victory again, where these bombers don't need to do a lot to be effective. Fly next to each other, put their guns all on the same target, right? Keep those arcs wide. The trick here is getting that Deathfire, who I hated originally. Now I see the value because it's only 3 points. So I've been putting them in every single list. The ability to launch the bomb in the round 2 is just so powerful. Not a lot of people understand it's almost like the perfect engagement zone. If Deathfire 3 banks and then 4 forwards, or 4 forwards and 3 banks from the center of the board, Deathfire will find you. But it's kind of that same disruption tactic that we were talking about, to where it's how much do you really want to invest in this weird ship coming at you, when you should be probably worried about those highly accurate barrage rockets. So yeah, very effective here. I love to see these Empire lists with no 3 agility, just rocking the chunk, if you will. But not
firepower.
I'm sorry.
If Chalk and firepower.
Yeah. How about we have health and shoot good, and we'll figure everything else out.
Have health, shoot good, make this big zone very bad for you.
Yeah. Also, tons of auto damage.
Yeah, so many bombs and Vader and.
I'm pretty sure every single Fenrau hated seeing this ever. It's bombs, it's Sat Salvo, it's Vader crew, and Deathfire. Deathfire alone can put a Fang in jail. Just guess where you don't get to play, where I am.
It turns out I'm in the middle of the board, so
you can't.
Why don't you go grab an objective there, Fenrau?
Yeah, let's go do something else. You get to play later.
To me, Deathfire, as good as the launching ability is, the FO impression he does with that swift approach. If you drop a bomb in the system phase, you can boost or barrel roll. Man, the amount of times that I've been able to drop the counter net in just the worst position possible for my opponent, and then barrel roll, white barrel roll, and then you can even link that barrel roll into a lock, and then just move forward and bump somebody. It's just so powerful.
Keep in mind, you can also do that swift approach while stressed. You can't link it into the lock while stressed, but you can still barrel roll while stressed.
Or boost. Like a 3K, and then drop your counter net, boost into a 3 forward. Deathfire just doesn't leave the fight. really makes me miss the FO bombers. So
he's also really good at just grabbing a box and then turning away and like doing a 3-turn away from you and either launching a bomb behind him or saying, "All right, come get me," through my constant wall of bombs I'm dropping behind as you try and chase me.
I don't think I've
Chase
ever
me through my bombs.
reloaded anything as much as Deathfire's out there reloading.
Reloading is very worth it on Deathfire.
Yeah, the moment you're not turning around and you don't have any more bomb charges, start reloading. Don't turn back.
Reload them proton bombs. You can't reload the counter net though. Don't forget. Cannot get that charge back. Boy, if you could, there would be a lot.
Don't let us
counter nets.
Get the bombs out or get the mines out again. Yeah, very very exciting to see. Sad to see no X1 Vader out there, but
okay. Vader crew better.
Well, I'll move on to the other top 4 here. Matt LaRock's list bringing a 5X squad. Of course, we have LOSC out there with Heavy Laser and Ferrosphere Paint. Vanessa Doza, that's the Barrage Rockets 1-2 out your rear arc. Has also Marksmanship. Timon Wexley, that's a Boost and Snap out there with Heavy Laser and R6D8 Squad Predator. Droid, Carcoon, that's the Daredevil Booster with Afterburners, of course. And then Nimi with the Ferrosphere Paint, M9G8 droid equipped as well. Nimi converts blanks to eyeballs when attacking higher initiative ships. So notably, no Jess Pava in this squad, who I would have considered
blasphemy to me.
Yeah, I would have considered heresy. We pretty much called any 3X LO snap Jess +2. But no. What do you think that is? Takes Kier over Nimi, or Kier, Doza, and Nimi over Jess or any of the other Y-Wings or A-Wings, anything else you can take at 4 points.
Usually when I don't see a Jess, it's just because people don't want to have lower than initiative 4. But that Nimi's right there. So, like, that's not the argument that I would think occurs with this. Nimi is pretty good still.
Yeah, Nimi has like a weird effect where she's not really initiative 2 because she packs such a big punch.
Oh, I mean, initiative doesn't equate to our firepower. We know that with Jess and Nimi. Nimi's initiative super matters because she does need to hold on to that focus for her shot to matter as much as it does.
Right.
On top of being initiative 2, so she's very init killable. It doesn't really have any better defense overall.
I think she just paints a big
least
target.
Has defensive rerolls.
Yeah, just paints a big target on her back that says you have to deal with me, and then don't worry about LO shooting heavy lasers with a reroll.
I would like to note that mathematically, and just the fact that you can use a range 1, I'm surprised more people aren't taking Crackshot instead of HLC. Because Crackshot is a point cheaper. You don't really get much more with that point, but you get to use it at range 1, which is super scary for a ton of ships. And I think the expected damage output between the two is either the same or favors Crackshot, actually. And if the response is, well, what about like Arc 170s? Like, I think you paste Arc 170s anyway. You don't need HLC to kill them.
It helps. It helps
yeah, I think the range 3 is valuable enough.
Yeah, because getting those,
so you could still use Crackshot at range 3.
Yeah, but it still helps. It helps get those, especially the Arc 170s with oddball around and guaranteeing that your hits are not going to be criticals, and you're going to be lighting up some nice 4 basic hits on an opponent. Once with those 3 arcs around, I think the heavy laser cannon just way more effective and easier.
Now, I would agree. Like, facing off against Paul's list here that Matt ended up losing against, like, Crackshot probably would have been better because you're only going to get like 1 bullseye attack a game, and it's probably going to be range 1 when these other higher initiatives close in on you. But I would say for like 70% of other games. When you're looking at arcs, when you're looking at massed beef from the Empire, or even just against other resistance list, I still think it would be better. You also have that awkward 1 point. What are you doing with the extra 1 point then? Just slapping like marksman?
Oh, yeah.
No.
No,
I don't care. I like Crackshot more than HLC baseline.
Okay. Interesting take for it. But yeah, I mean, 5X, even with some of these more interesting pilots thrown in there, still very effective. As long as, if you're practicing out there with your 5X, start closing your wings more often. Do the linked bear roll. It's so powerful.
Especially with Vanessa. She has the barrage rockets. Pretty neat.
Doesn't stop your barrage rockets out the rear. No, it does not. Let's see. Is there any of these 4 other lists that you want to talk about? I'm pulling them up right here to take a look. See.
There is a there's a couple of like interesting tweaks. There's Blue Tricycle with a non-Han Rebel, but just went the Boudica Finrao Hera Luke Sabine, which is definitely not. I thought we haven't seen it before, but it is good to see. Rebels that Han.
Did you say blue tricycle? I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry. Blue tricycle. Okay, yeah.
And then there's also a 3-arc and OB Anakin Ada. So taking a very thematic siege Coruscant with OB Anakin. So just a little, instead of taking that Padme, you take OB.
That must be.
That's Knuckle, yeah.
Knuckle.
Okay. Which I assume is Andrew Knuckle.
I see. No. I mean, this isn't.
Okay.
This is in Canada.
Canada. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So throwing the Obi-Wan Ada in there. I mean, they do have such powerful synergy between them. When you could really get in some repositioning of some post maneuver repositioning through their abilities.
Yeah. Post maneuver double reposition, and you still have an action.
Right. Yeah. So that's pretty powerful. Okay. So not too much exciting there. For that,
I do think the other Empire list has some interesting loadout choices.
Okay.
Sans.
Yeah, pulled up here.
Sans soft blues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got Deathfire there. Cool. Got Telmax with Sat, Several Barrage Rocket, but no bombs. Munitions fail, say feedback ping. Interesting. We got Rack, who's got seismic charges instead of Ruthless and Baffle. I'm a little iffy on that. Baffle's super good on Rack, actually. Matters a ton. And so is Ruthless. Then here's where some of the weird tweaks come in. We've seen some people actually trying this out more recently with Major Rhymer with cluster missiles and just opting into, like, I have an ability. As long as I get a lock, I get to shoot this cluster missile from range 0 to range 3 because it's a range 1 to 2 thing, and Major Rhymer's ability is active for it.
Mm-hmm.
How much the feedback ping comes into play, not really sure.
Well, you're launching.
It's going to come into play a lot with Deathfire.
Oh, true. Launching with Deathfire. Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to avoid that one.
Yeah. Juno Eclipse, though. So we've seen the 4.x1s being taken, mostly Merrick, but Juno still has some good play with passive sensors, with that passive sensor action then boost. But the targeting synchronizer is interesting because it allows Juno, if she's not going to be in the fight, to still provide a lock to someone. Like, say she's leaving the fight and she's going to go do objective things because she's like close to dead or needs to go do an objective thing to help out. Could still passive sensor and go paint a target for someone like Rhymer. Use his to still have targeting synchronizer, or use targeting synchronizer to ignore the lock requirement, and just use a focus shot basically. It's probably not used a ton. It's not like any sort of like crazy Rube Goldberg machine stuff here, but it's something I notice is like that's not the common last 3 points I see on Juno often. It's usually, for what I've seen, if you take passive sensors, it's probably Lone Wolf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She really misses Crackshot though. That passive sensors Crackshot was so cool.
Lock boost.
Lost 1 point of loadout. Well, sorry, didn't lose 1 point of loadout. Crackshot went up by 1 point.
Oh yeah, that's true. I do like that, but I feel like the list is suffering from getting pulled in too many directions. Trying to do Rear Admiral stuff and Juno's targeting Synchronizer with these feedback pings. But still, I mean, it's very close to what we've been seeing a lot of people go with. When you reach for that 7-point Rear Admiral, you don't get a lot of, in other games, we call them chaff, which is just like dumb line troops out there trying to get shot at, right? Which is the bombers. So a lot of people have taken Deathfire, Reimer, Tomax. But yeah, big question on who that 4-point finisher is. I don't mind, I5 reposition specialist out there. Seems pretty good. Let's take we might as well just take a look at the other one here. You said Blues Tricycles got the Hera, the Fangatani, more or less. Oh no, this has a Luke. No Benthic in it. So more like an Alpha Strike. Fang Alpha. Then Alexander Oler brings a 5x list, or 4x plus Juno, really. Does take Elo, Demon, Wexley, Jess. As for Kirkun, though, with no afterburners. Interesting.
Yeah, the afterburners Kirkun is like the one version of Kirkun I think is really neat.
Yeah,
it looks like based upon the upgrades I'm seeing here, Alexander really just wanted them heroics.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, maybe that's the trick there, isn't it? Well, very helpful on 2 green dice, as a note.
More helpful on 2 green dice than 3, but I'd say there's a better allocation of loadout. But that's me. Like Temin, so granted, I took heroic. I had that exact same Temin Wexley at Nova, but it wasn't because I picked heroic first or second. I picked R68 Ferrosphere, and I had 2 points left in an empty talent slot, and literally not much else that made a ton of sense. So I was like, throw heroic in there, whatever.
Sure. No, I mean these still look very scary, and honestly, the kind of like a macro view of the this particular tournament and some other ones we've seen is that luckily it's a good thing that there isn't copy and paste list, even with like the Siege of Coruscant, right? Being so popular. We still see variations in those squads, going up to 6, bringing in different 4-point pieces. So, and then like everybody's loadout, whether it's like your Decimator or your X-Wings, the variation is good. When we used to see things like, is it outmaneuver Grievous? That was... I'm glad we've moved past those kind of pseudo standard loadouts.
I think just a couple honorable mentions, because this was just a base top 8 cut, which means one of the 4 and 2s made it in.
Yeah, so
there were they were down to 15th rank 4 and 2. One of them was a 4 HMP 3 Vulture list.
By Roger.
And another was,
I see that.
Another one was 2 Fangs and a single Fire Spray. Just old T Fen Boba.
Wow. Okay, I mean, got 4 wins with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, looking at stuff that nets some 4 wins here. We got this other Separatista Zam, Dirge, Vulture, Hyena, and HMP.
Which Separatist one was that?
Jean-Luc.
What number?
13th.
13th. Yeah. Ooh, the true salad out there, huh?
Yeah. With most of it droids minus a fire spray. But
four
Dirge,
yeah.
HMPs and 3 vultures.
I want. James is done with Separatists, but we were looking always at something similar. Wait, is there a 4th vulture in there? No, there's only
just 3.
Just 3.
7 ships.
So they're bringing the Geonosian prototypes with synced lasers,
laser, Discord, and clusters. Wow.
Wow, indeed, that's a gunship right there.
Need the clusters there? I don't really. There's not really much in the realm of like extra lock grabbing.
Well, they don't really spend locks though.
No, but you need a lock to shoot the clusters.
True. I mean, you have Kraken on board, one of them. So
yeah,
that first round of engagement, if you can, grab some locks.
No indie calc either. No room. They should have room.
Wait, on
Talked
your
about
HMPs?
it last week. They should. No. No indie calc on the vultures.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have Kraken, so.
Yeah, but I don't want to waste a whole HMP just for Kraken. Feels bad. I want that HMP to shoot for real.
Yeah.
At least once. Give it 1 energy shell charge. Let me run K2B4, give all those vultures indie calc, and then let me have a gun on 047.
The other thing is the Chal ability to get a target lock action. Get shut down.
Help them make a dangerous energy shell shot. That's for sure.
It also gives the HMP rerolls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If they shoot at the Horchal, then.
No, they don't shoot the Horchal.
Oh, if they don't shoot the Vulture, that's right. If they shoot the HMP. Yeah. Interesting. The initiative is so low in this list that's terrifying to me. The Geonosians are initiative 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you
have the only even number initiative in the whole droid army.
So 6
besides
pilots
404.
in your list aren't even initiative 3.
Yep.
But I mean, it's like things like this, right? Where they're facing off against Commander Malaris and like a bunch of I5s. Who cares, right? If three's not enough, you might as well be initiative 1.
If you're not initiative 4, then it really doesn't matter what your initiative is, I think.
That's true, because I've been going back to that Deathfire. I've actually really enjoyed him being initiative 2, because I know he's always moving first. I know I can get into the positions I want.
I'm pretty sure his ability is fully execute.
Fully execute, yeah. For Deathfire.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to be making sure that you execute that, and getting below 3s is important.
Mm-hmm. No. So I love to see. I love to see that people are still trying out. I know the general consensus on those factions is pretty low, but I know there's still people out here getting wins with them. I mean, those could have been all in the cut pretty easily.
Yeah, if it wasn't for a couple of draws, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was a couple draws.
Jorge had 2 draws to get him into the cut.
Yeah, I did see that. I was very confused of this record, but sure.
It works, doesn't it?
That's a good record.
That's better than 411, 420.
It's
no loss.
Somehow better than a lot of these. So, pretty awesome stuff right there. So congratulations again to Jorge Castaneda getting the Western Canadian World Qualifier invite. Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. So hopefully they'll have some more in the next years. Let's go, though, into our last topic. We already hit the question of the week. That's right. So let me pull up our list of the week. I sent this over to the gentleman in our group chat after, I forget what we were watching, but I just remember we were talking about wanting the bombers again. I forget what we were talking about. What came upon the conversation between us that I wanted to see more FO bombers out on the field. And we've been talking up, Marcel, you've been talking up these buoys for so long. I've been wanting to get them out on.
Well, I didn't talk about them so long. I said they should be free, but okay.
Well, what if you did have to pay for them?
Well, I do have to pay for them.
All right, so let me. I'll pass most of this over to you guys because I'm very interested in your thoughts. But I'll run down the list of what we're examining here. So this is a list that includes both buoys and feedback ping. And to get feedback ping on all of your ships that aren't taking a buoy, you have to run Breach in the bomber. We have Scorch, Grudge, and Jewel Gerard. All of them can take a bomb, a munition, and feedback ping. Then we have Gideon Hask. I guess this pilot could be different. It could be Commander Malorus because they have the same loadout and everything. But I think Gideon's just a little bit better than Malorus. But Gideon currently has equipped Sensor Buoy, and then I figured Targeting Synchronizer must be thrown in there too. Which leaves them 8 loadout remaining. So let me.
I kind of sent you a link, so just use that link because when you asked it.
Well, let's start with this Gideon Hask, these Sensor Buoy suites. Marcel, how are we going to elevate this Gideon Hask with the remaining loadout?
Oh, you mean we're going ship by ship? Okay.
We'll start just guiding the conversation. Let's start there.
So that Gideon Hask in what I sent over, I had sensor buoys and of course bio. I didn't have targeting computer.
Oh, you didn't take the
targeting
synchronizer. Okay.
No, you don't need it because with all the feedback pings and everything else going on, it's whatever. And I had biohex codes. Okay. So you can do the coordinate or jamming at distance. I had agent Terex.
That's throw up one of your 3 calculates you have set aside.
And then jams, yeah. And then jams or calculates. And then also had general hooks, which is while you perform a coordinate action, you may treat it as red. And if you do coordinate up to 2 additional ships of the same ship type.
Can you read that again?
Okay, general hooks. While you perform a white coordinate action. Oh, god damn it. You need a targeting synchronizer for that, right?
Yeah, hooks doesn't work like that.
Well, we'll just change that. So, still like the biohex better than the.
We'll throw.
Petty Officer Dennison. During the activation or engagement phase after an enemy ship in your front arc at range 0 to 1 gains a red or orange token. If you are not stressed, you may gain a stress. If you do, that ship gains 1 additional token of that type. So basically, if anybody bumps into you and stresses, they'll be dealt stress. So they better not stress.
Yeah, or you could double jam with Gideon as well. Because they have white jam, you could take a stress and hand somebody 2 jam tokens.
That is a possibility.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because you can do either of those 2. And I think probably Petty Officer. You can also go Proud Tradition. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do with. That's when you can go Proud.
Yeah, he does have 2 talent slots as well if you'd prefer.
Yeah, you can do like Proud Marksman or I don't know. There's a million things, but I think Sensor Buoy, Biohex, and Ancient Turrets are 3 and then 3 points to do whatever you like.
Interesting.
Add my own version there.
Sure.
With
what do you think is a good build?
Sensor, Proud, Tradition, Targeting Synchronizer, Hux, and Tac Officer. They actually use the Hux.
Ooh, you are trying to Hux it up here. Okay.
Huxing it.
That's interesting.
That way they all come in with focuses. And they can still do evade. No, they have to reload it to evade. That's silly.
Yeah, my only problem with the Hux is that you're stressing them, and you're stressing them. Maybe I think Hux might be better if you're taking Malorus then, because you can let everybody move, and then you can coordinate to who you need to.
I was actually looking at going up to Malorus because what's the point of having Gideon if you're just going to be using the clusters, right?
Gideon's more for himself, just so he shoots a 3 dice attack.
He shoots. Gotcha. Okay. I was also looking at Terex as a pilot, and getting the. Oh, but he doesn't really work with the bombers, does he? Darn.
No, not really, because he would have to keep all of his illicits.
I was trying to fit in Tyranny, but does not work. The points don't work out.
No, points don't work out.
Okay, all right. So yeah, then I think I'm still stuck on Gideon with or Malorus in that case with
Malorus with Hux and
Tac Hux, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, especially if you didn't pick up the lock for your munitions, and
give the lock out.
Yeah, make sure you can get your
like
locks.
If they avoided the ping, yeah.
Yeah, and it does stress everybody. That Hux is very stressful.
It is stressful, yeah.
But I like the thought that you're going here. It's almost like a failsafe to if the Runeberg Goldberg doesn't rune. Yeah, you just have a normal way of doing things.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Ryan, what can you guide us in as far as what kind of bombs and munitions we should be taking on these bombers?
So, I think Scorch Bomber is pretty well set as he is. It's only got 7 points. Even if it feedback ping, cluster missiles, bomb generator, pretty easy. I think we can do a lot more with Grudge than just bomblet generator. Like, you can just straight upgrade that to Prox Mines.
Sure.
That's a big upgrade. And I don't think you need much more that. You could go down to cluster mines so that you could go up Russian missiles and then have 2 points left for like skilled bombardier if you want. But Prox mines are very good on Grudge for sure. And then I think Breach. Man, I wish Breach was 4 points. Just had a little less loadout. Just be FO's version of Zori. Go fire plasma torpedo. But I think actually we can have a little more fun with this one because what's interesting about this is Gideon's targeting synchronizer. If you stick with it, with the sensor buoy and whatnot, that there's a chance that you could help mitigate your road issue of I'm I5 and I had to shoot before them. Well, now not only could you still shoot your munition with targeting synchronizer, I think DT 798 gunner might actually make some sense.
Okay.
If we're shooting a high-powered torpedo, it's going to be proton, I think, on Breach. I'm not spending 5 points for a plasma torpedo. I'm spending 5 points for proton torpedo. I think DT7 and 8 might actually have a real play there, because if you are shooting an only focus modded proton torpedo, you just need someone. I care a little less about the first part of DT, the start of engagement phase. Choose a friendly ship in your firing arc. If you do, that ship gains a strain token. if someone's safe, that they're not going to be shot, which can happen with these Fombers. They go fast and drop bombs the turn after a lot. So you can just throw one of them astray and they may not even care. Or just, if you roll 1 die for each ship in the attack arc with 1 or more non-lock red or orange tokens. So if anyone's linking actions, if you have Gideon jam anybody and it sticks around, you would actually be able to mod more of that torpedo than just the focus if you need to use target synchronize. I don't think it's that much investment because I think the baseline you want with Breach is Proton Torpedo, you have your feedback ping, you got DT798, and Proud Tradition. Proud Tradition goes extremely well with Breach. You assume Breach would like to do a 3 sloop over top of their target, go through them,
It is their ability.
acquire a lock, and have Proud Tradition to focus. Fully modded shot off. It is the super souped up version of Proud Pattern, exclusive to Breach. It's only acquire lock, and you're firing things like proton torpedoes.
So you're taking no bomb on your Breach as a note. Changed it for that DT.
Now, if you want to, and I wouldn't poo-poo this by any means. If you wanted to still take a bomb, I think you can easily drop down to plasma torpedo and just have the same sort of setup and just fill in what you want from there. You could take, if you wanted, we didn't take DT. You could take advanced proton and plasma torpedo. Whatever you are ready for. This Breach is shooting you with a torpedo at any range.
It would get you.
Proud, plasma, advanced, protor, feedback ping.
Interesting. I like where your head's at here. I almost feel like with this many feedbacks around, cluster mines might be the way to go, because if they don't hit all of them, that one mine out there is just constantly triggering feedback pings.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You could drop the plasma, take cluster mines, and still take DT798.
Yeah, you still get DT
equals
there.
out pretty well. Dual Jaredrod's definitely the weirder one to me. I4 Plasma Torp, not as helpful to the list, but the only thing shooting before Dual Jaredrod is Breach. Just depends on how you plan on loading out your Breach or how you want to attack opposing forces. But Jewel carrying a torpedo has an option there. You also, I haven't really played Jewel Jaredrod that much to know, but Jewel Jaredrod I know is kind of like an innate, his ability, after you perform a boost action, you may spend a charge to remove 3 charges for the entire game, non-recurring, to remove 1 non-lock red or orange token. So prime thrusters, like if Jewel gets stressed, can still do system phase boost and then get rid of that stress, as an example. I don't know how much that matters enough for you to reach 6 points for prime thrusters, though, where you might be able to get better stuff and better bombs, realistically.
Right.
And I still take a plasma torpedo and but yeah, I could take feedback plasma cluster mine.
Feedback plasma cluster mine. Okay.
I mean, so Grudge is there, and if we're taking cluster mine Breach, like, why not also cluster mine Jewel?
I mean, I put cluster mines on Grudge too. Okay. I think now we're starting to see a theme here. With the scattering cluster mines and sensor buoys out amongst the field, just to get as many feedback pings as possible.
Got 2 sources of plasma torps that can shoot before the rest of the list.
What's the foot do? Oh, I don't know.
Reg is going to put in some overtime here, that's for sure, with his ability and all these cluster mines.
Yeah. Okay.
But don't forget that you have feedback ping. I've seen enough people just trying it out for fun that like they go through an entire turn and forget like the opponent ran next to like a bomb or a mine like 5 times. That could have a trigger every single time.
Yeah, you just need to have a lock in your hand when your opponent is moving ships.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that help out a lot. Just like have the thing that you want to do in your hand, because like you can't forget it. Because you'll just be standing around. It's like, why do I have this in my? Oh yeah, I'm feedbacking, and then put the lockdown.
I like a lot of, but because my question for you, Ryan, was going to be, because the cluster missiles are close range, so no long range munitions, but you kind of fix that with putting them on the long range on the higher initiative. Jewel's a 4, Breach is a 5, so should be able to stay back in the initial engagements to find those long range attacks. I would also probably be putting my sensor buoys a lot closer to my edge of the board than my opponents. Don't forget they can shoot them. They have 2 hull and 3 agility, something like that. But if you put them out,
agility, but just put them on a cloud.
Agility. 2 hull, 3 agility.
Oh, they're 3 agility. Okay.
Yeah, 4 if you put them.
Yeah, put them on an obstacle. Get big rocks. Put them on the rocks.
Yep. I did favor Gideon with Agent Tarek's crew and targeting computer with keeping targets synchronized.
Yeah, I think the Hux is just doubling down on something that we just don't need.
Yeah,
I like the
got feedback
failsafe
ping and doing
it,
stuff like you should be able to figure out a way to get mostly well modded, and Tarek's can help mitigate that if you actually have to take the lock, and Tarek's can throw you a calc.
Mm-hmm. Or just like giving yourself calculates while you're out there coordinating.
Yeah, that too. Throwing calcs over to the cluster missile ships if they got multiple, if they have the chance to shoot both shots.
True. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, it looks like there's a lot of options you can take for this kind of list.
Well, I'm just gonna throw one out there because that's the one I sent you, and
yeah. What did you?
that.
What did you?
Well, you don't have to bring the whole thing up. Just it doesn't matter. Just the main thing that's different, because how you load the bombers is they're all basically different flavors of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the breach is the one that I think is
yeah. It looks like
because
you went swarm tactics and
basically plasma helps at I5 against certain type of lists, mainly like big base and Arc 170s, big and medium base is going to help a lot. Then you have the Mag Pulse warheads, which will help against a different type of list, like the list that is going to throw something at you, whether it's a bomber with barrage rockets and saturation or something else, or you just need to burn a reinforce off of his ship early. Right. Then swarm tactics to get mostly Grudge, but any other ship that needs to get the ordnance out before, if they're targeted and they're like, well, there's so much I5 out there just to get any of these other ships out that, making sure that they shoot their shot. With Grudge, especially after seeing like the results for that West Canadian, probably not that same loadout, probably something more, like no shield upgrade, and probably going with the cluster mines or thermal detonators, and like maybe thermals.
Put some thermals.
Yeah, and actually, I kind of like the idea of concussion missiles as well, or at least even if it's not a Grudge, one of the ships with concussion missiles, just to get the range 3 missiles available. Yeah, I think I like thermal, seismic, feedback, concussion, or whatever. Like again, all this other stuff it doesn't really change. It's just whatever. Right. The main change that I had from what you guys were building is mostly just based around the plasma mag pulse swarm tactics. I think that's.
Oh, you know what? You did put in one interesting thing about Jewel. I had forgotten this trick of pattern analyzer
Oh, the pattern cluster and bomblet. Yeah, because Jules, what's Jules ready? After you perform
A boost.
Yeah,
Oh, so you don't. Oh, you don't have engine
spend
upgrade
a
though.
charge to remove one non-lock red or orange. You don't need engine upgrade because you perform a boost. After you perform a boost, you're not stressed. So that allows you to basically do your K turns all the time. So basically, you can still boost in your just a regular boost at any time.
Right.
And
I think you're.
basically a white
let me preface though. So what I was being able to boost with pattern analyzer sheds. Oh wait, no, it wouldn't shed your stress, wouldn't it? Because you don't have it yet. Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I don't know the rules. Never mind.
Read the card. Read
the rules. Yeah. I was trying to think of like, oh, you just boost with pattern analyzer, and then that would clear your stress. But I think if you, yeah, you would have to have like primed and pattern or something.
But
it didn't work out. So never mind. I take it all back. Still though, what you're saying, where you can boost and then still turn around and get that action to be able to shoot, very effective for these bombers. Pretty much any FO ship, to be honest with you, loves that pattern analyzer. So good.
Yeah, but mostly again, the big thing would be like the swarm tactics, just to make sure that your other ships get just taking advantage of the I-5.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense. Turns it almost into a long-range alpha strike, then kind of more niche, just feedback pinging people. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different. Once you get up to these 4 and 5 point bombers, where they have 7 upgrade slots and like 15, 18 loadout, have quite a few options for them. So that's fascinating to see what kind of ideas you guys had for these different bombers. Is it a tournament winning list? I don't know. Will it be a lot of fun to make submarine noises while I'm feedback pinging? Could be. I think though, unless I'm missing anything from you 3, I think we can call it a complete tier.
Yeah. Good. Quick night.
Yeah, we're exciting to see. Exciting to see what the next World Open qualifiers are. Let me check on the schedule here. Oh, that's PAX in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, I think.
Okay. Yeah, first week of December. So that'll be exciting. Yeah. That's in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. Should be an exciting time. We'll have to check out the results of that as well.
Is anyone here planning to go to that one?
I'm not able to, no. That's when I'm taking my move.
It's exciting.
Getting prepared these next couple of weekends. We'll leave this fine Java's Palace behind me to greener pastures. Awesome. So, from everybody here at Gold Squadron, stay safe, stay smart. Gold Squadron out.
Thank you to ISO, Danko, Baffle, Trojan, Prophet, Shadow, Tycho, Spice, Raider, Lancer, Fallen, Row 6, 626, Chief, and J-List, our Grand Admiral patrons. And all of our Gold Squadron patrons and community members, thank you for your support. Gold Squadron out.